This is Scott Wheeler with radar-mirror.com, and if you're not familiar with us, we integrate custom information displays into factory rearview mirrors on a lot of cars. Most of the displays that we're installing are radar detector or laser jamming displays, such as the Valentine 1 or Escort or Bell STIR. We also do a lot of gauges for cars that are running aftermarket supercharger or turbocharger kits, and we've also started doing some LCD displays for backup cameras, things like that. What we're going to do today is just talk a little bit about the evolution of these mirrors and some of the changes and technologies that have taken place. We also are currently installing a V1 display in a factory BMW mirror, and we're also installing a Escort 9500 CI display in the rearview mirror for a 2011 AMG C63. Now, what we're looking at here, first of all, this is the factory mirror from a E46 M3. This is the mirror with the SOS buttons, and as you can see here, the mirrors for the car don't have just a whole heck of electronics and circuits inside the mirror. It's basically a small circuit board that operates the automatic dimming. There's a separate piece here for the SOS function, and then there's a wiring harness that runs the factory LED that blinks on the bottom of the mirror. Now, what's happened over the last few years is that the technology for these mirrors has become extremely sophisticated, and the electronics inside the mirrors have become incredibly complex, to the point that if you've never seen the inside of one of these mirrors before, you just be amazed at what they're able to stuff inside the mirror and what the mirrors are able to accomplish. Now, this is the factory mirror off of a E90 M3, a BMW M3. This mirror has automatic dimming, it has home link buttons, and it also has a digital compass display that's included with the mirror from the factory. Now, as you can see here, the amount of electronics inside the mirror, right behind the glass, there's a huge circuit board with lots of circuits, lots of electronics, and there's just not a whole heck of a lot of room to mount something like a Escort. You know, this is basically what we're starting with from Valentine, this big bulky unit, and so we have to figure out a way to take this and fit it inside the mirror and not have any adverse effects or lose any of the functionality of the factory mirror. Now, the mirror behind the BMW mirror, this is the C63 mirror, this is the Mercedes mirror, and if you thought the BMW mirror looked like it had a lot of electronics packed into it, these things are just really nuts. Again, the mirror's got automatic dimming, it has home link, it has a digital compass display. In addition to that, Mercedes integrates some microphones into the mirror. There's map lights, and you know, once you get the mirror open and start to take a look at what's behind here, you can kind of start to get an idea of how complicated and how challenging it is to install these displays inside these mirrors. Okay, we've completed integrating the displays into the BMW and Mercedes mirrors. Let's start by taking a look at our Valentine 1 system. Now, there's 4 components that are required for the system to operate: the Valentine 1 main radar locator, the Valentine 1 remote audio adapter, direct wire power adapter, and concealed display. The concealed display is what's installed inside the mirror. Now, for the E90M3, we actually installed the radar detector inside the rear headrest. Laser detection will be disabled with this setup. However, the radar detector bands will function normally. We also have a new product available for concealing the Valentine 1 unit. This is a custom concealed enclosure that we're making to hide the radar detector. You can stick this on a rear deck or mount it to a headliner so that you can effectively hide the radar detector and nobody will know that there is a radar detector unit present on your car. Now, before we ship the mirror system back to the customer, we want to test the mirror, the factory mirror functions, and make sure that they're operating. And we also want to test the radar detector system itself to make sure that it's functioning normally. There's going to actually be six separate things that we're going to look for. Let's start with the factory mirror. We're going to turn the power on, and what we want to see is we want to see the digital compass illuminate. We want to see automatic dimming functioning, and we want to make sure that the home link buttons are operating normally. Now, let's go ahead and turn power on to the mirror, and we should immediately see the compass. There it is, and you can also see that the mirror is dimming down so that the automatic dimming feature is functional. Now, one of the things that we have as an option when we install the V1 system on this car is the concealed display. If you take a look at the normal unit here, it actually has a mute button integrated, and so what we do is we offer the option to convert the number 2 home link button to a mute switch, and so we have actually done that in this application. So if we hit button number 1, we can see button 1's working. If we hit button number 3, it is functioning. And then if we hit button number 2, you can see the LED is not going to turn on because we've disabled it and converted it to a mute switch for the V1. Alright, now that we can see that all of the factory functionality for the mirror is intact, let's now move on and perform tests for the V1 system. And we're basically going to look for 3 things here. Number 1, obviously we want to make sure that the display in the mirror is working. We want to make sure that the sound, there's a speaker on this remote audio adapter that's integrated so that you can still hear the system. So we want to look for the display. We want to hear sound. And then we're going to test the buttons here just to make sure that the mute's operational, make sure that we're able to change modes. Alright, let's just start by powering this on. Okay, obviously have sound. The display for the radar detector is functioning. And then if we hit this little button here, you just hold this button down, we can see that the modes are changing. Okay, and then the other way to do this is if you just hit this button here, button number 2, hold it down, we can see that that is operational as well. And then one of the nice features about the mirror systems that we build is we use custom glass inside the mirror, and you know, we don't ever etch the back of the mirror off the way that some of you may have seen that leaves a permanent pattern. And so when we turn the mirror display off, basically you just see a mirror. Alright, let's take a look at the Mercedes mirror. This has the 9500 Ci display installed, and the customer opted to have the optional red display installed inside the mirror, which is a option that we're now excited to be able to offer for the 9500 Ci displays. The display is normally blue, and for certain cars, a lot of the European cars have red or orange lights inside the car, and so the red display blends in with the interior a little better. Alright, so let's just go ahead and power the system on here and make sure that the display is operating. Alright, there we go. And we're going to get some errors here. We don't have all of the components connected to the mirror at this point. We're just powering the display and making sure that it powers on and is operating and functioning normally, which it appears to be. Okay, and we're going to get some error messages. Alright, thanks for watching. More information is available at www.radar-mirror.com.